New Tutorials. Today I want to show you how to use the dodge and burn tools in Adobe Photoshop. So I have a picture here of my daughter as Poison Ivy, and basically on her, mostly on her face, but some in her hair and the gloves. I will use the dodge and burn to create more depth in the photo. That will help add some shadows and bring the highlights out a little more. So to begin, I am going to, let me zoom in a little bit here on her. I'm going to add a second layer. So I'm just duplicating the layer of what's already there. And I'm going to select the burn tool first. So it's about halfway down here. It looks like a little hand grab there. And I usually, for the most part, stick with the midtones. Every once in a while, if I'm trying to darken an area that's really light, then I would go to the highlights. Or if you're trying to darken an area that's already pretty dark, like something right here, you would select shadows. But for the most part, I usually stick with midtones. I keep it at a very low exposure, so I have 5%. And basically, I'm just going to go in and add in some shadows into some areas that I want to appear a little bit darker. So I'm just using my mouse here and just darkening up some of this so you can see the before and after when I hide that layer. I had already previously done some around her face, so I wanted to focus primarily on her face for this tutorial. Let me zoom in a little bit. So usually on this, I try to look at what's already existing. You don't want to start adding shadows and highlights that shouldn't appear there unless it is on purpose. So like my Maleficent picture that I did for another tutorial, she has very prominent cheekbones, so I made it a point to really use the burn tool around that to bring out those cheekbones. But other than that, I'm just going to kind of darken up some of these areas that I want to emphasize a little bit, and it doesn't have to be much. And the nice thing is that by adding a second, or by duplicating your layer, if you feel like you've gone overboard anywhere, you can brush it off using a layer mask. So just kind of darkening up some of what's already there. And you'll see here in a minute when I switch to the, switch the layer off, you'll be able to see the difference here. My favorite of this for any ladies who like to apply highlighter, I love using the dodge tool like on the tip of the nose and down the bridge of the nose and a little bit over here on the cheekbones. It's just really, it really looks like it's kind of shining. Okay, so get a little bit in the Cupid's bow here. And I'm going to zoom out a little bit. And a lot of times I'll use the dodge or the burn tool to kind of add a little bit of darkness around the eyes, as far as if you're trying to add on eyeliner, make the lashes appear a little more. She has so much going on. I didn't want to extend her eyelashes. Again, this is my daughter. She's young, and obviously she has makeup on. Well, I've created the makeup in Photoshop, but she is playing a character. That is the only reason why she has this makeup on. I don't want anyone to think I'm condoning a child wearing makeup, because that is not the case. We like to pretend this is kind of like Halloween when my girls do this stuff. So again, I'm just adding shadows here, some of these areas that I want to darken up. Let's see, if just trying to glance around to see if I see anything else. Okay, so now when I click off of the layer, you can see the before and the after. So it's already adding some dimension, a little more depth there. And what I'm going to do now, let me get a little bit more here. So I was trying to get a little on her, like under her cheekbone. I don't like that little dark spot right there. So when I'm done, I'm just going to clone it out of there. So what I want to do now is I'm going to make one more duplicate layer, and I'm going to go back with the dodge tool. So when I use the dodge tool, again, I keep it on midtones and 5%. Occasionally I have to go into the highlights, but not always. You have to think about where your light source is coming from. You don't want to just wing it and this not look realistic. So I'm trying to, envision the light coming, kind of really from the front, maybe a little bit off to the left. So she might have a little bit of a highlight running down these little cones in her hair. She's going to have some lighter to her hair there. Before I zoom in on her face, I'm going to get a little bit more of this. So the gloves, which are pretty, I kind of hit those earlier. And I'm trying a new microphone system here. I'm really hoping that it drowns out the sound of my computer fan running, so we'll see. Hopefully we're not hearing all that. So now I want to put a little more there. Before I get onto her face, I'm going to add some highlights to the edges of these little features around her eyes. We'll see how this video turns out, if you can hear the fan spinning or not, because I sure hear it right now. But if we are hearing it, and if you have a tip on how to get rid of that, please let me know. I would greatly appreciate it, because clearly the microphone I don't think is working. So okay, so again, before, after, before, after. So let's get into her face here. I love putting a little bit of the kind of highlight in the corner of her eye there. Brush some on her brow bone. It's pretty dark over here. We usually do right here. That's where the light's going to hit the top of her cheekbone. I'll get a little over here. Sometimes when you can see more of their eyelid, I like to put this right on the center part of their eyelid. It makes it look like a little shimmery, like there's a little highlight there. Okay. And now we'll put some on her little nose. Okay, so you can see it makes it, look, and there's the right above her lip. We'll get that. The areas that would stand out, that the light would hit and your skin's going to reflect. Okay, let's see. Where else am I missing? Let's get a little more around here. we've got that. Eyes, I think I'm good with that. So we're going to hit the lips here, and sometimes you have to be careful with this. You know, if you're wanting it to appear kind of glossy, you're usually better off to go in with an actual white brush, because sometimes all this does is makes the color lighter. It doesn't appear white, which I'm not really going for a gloss necessarily, just more of just kind of a shine to the lipstick. And she didn't even have lipstick on. I just painted this on in Photoshop. I've done a couple tutorials on makeup, but I'll do one here pretty soon on how to do kind of a full face. I'm going to do the Joker character here in the next week or so. So instead of painting my nephew's face, who will be the Joker, I'm going to do it all in Photoshop after. So just make sure you stay tuned for that tutorial. So now you can see it's kind of has that glow. So when I zoom out, you can see if I click off both of the layers, that's before. This is with the burn tool, and then this is with the dodge and burn as well. So when I click off, that's off, kind of flat in some areas, and then that is after. So hopefully you can see how that really adds in some dimension. I actually, like, even just looking at that, I noticed I missed some of her hair, so I would go back in and just correct anything. You know, if there are areas that you find that are just way too dark, way too light, like if you got a little carried away with whatever whichever one you're using, you can always create a layer mask and mask that off so it's not permanent. But if you do not start by duplicating your layer, then it is going to be something that's more permanent. So just keep that in mind. I think that wraps it up on this one. I will post the makeup tutorial here in the next couple weeks, so make sure you keep an eye out for that. But that's it for this tutorial. Thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for watching this video. Make sure you stay connected with Urban Rhino on social media. And don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, comment below, and of course, subscribe to our channel.